The scariest thing as a climber is falling. And there was a part of me that was just like, fine, let's just go do this scariest possible thing that in my brain equals dying. Screw it. Why not? Let's just see what this is all about. What makes me happy? Well, I mean, climbing makes me happy. Flying makes me happy. Being with Ian makes me happy. I think having the ability in life to kind of follow things at the time they come by is something that really makes me happy, and I've kind of prioritized my life to allow for that. I'm Steph Davis. I'm a climber. I'm a base jumper. I'm a wingsuit flyer. I live in Moab, Utah, and I guess that's about it.
I think if there was one word to describe her goal in life, it's freedom. It affects everything that she does.
I think that's just who she is. You can't cage, can't cage a wild bird, as they say,
I was born in Illinois, and then we moved to New Jersey, and then finally to Maryland. Our family life was like very controlled. And then, I was a really good student, so I always had scholarships. That was just the track I was in. It's like you go through school until you can't go anymore, and then you kind of get a sort of a career on the basis of that. Starting to climb was what showed me that, well, first of all, there's like another way to live. I just felt like, whoa, I have passion for this, and I know it, because that's the thing I saw I wasn't having with what I was doing before. So it's kind of like difficult to go to law school because I'd so much seeped into this lifestyle of climbing all the time. So I just kind of made the break and continued down that road.
I don't know if I can take credit for bringing Steph to Moab, but because I was like the only person everybody knew that had a house, I might have encouraged her to stay, because she lived in her truck in my driveway.
I made the choice to live in my car, to not spend money. I never had like cell phones or buy TVs or, I don't know, whatever you can spend money on, or go out to restaurants, or I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to go climbing. When I bought this place was a wreck. It was like the cheapest possible place you could buy, but I bought it outright because I had been like saving money living in my car, just spending almost nothing, and I was just like slowly saving my money, and then just bought this place.
It's a little song we like to call off the rails. Well, he went off the rails. There wasn't any place else to go. Steph really likes to have a nest to come home to, especially when she was doing more far-flung adventures like Patagonia or Yosemite Valley. And she always looked forward to having a really solid base to come home and just like regroup and refuel and nest for a while before the next really big adventure.
What was fun about expeditions at that time was the fact that you just like disappeared. We didn't have it like now with the internet and the phones and everything. And so it was kind of like, I'm going on an expedition, be back in a few months, bye. And then you were just gone, which was great.
Steph is one of the people that I know that will not be told what to do. Like, I have rarely seen someone that wants to be freed like that.
At that time, there just weren't that many women doing the more adventurous style of climbing. I did start to get a little bit of sponsorship money. That was huge, and that's when I started going on expeditions, because suddenly I had like double the amount of money and, you know, I could have a lot more freedom. That's part of the fun of climbing, is, you know, getting an idea or getting inspired by like a place or a particular route, and then life becomes really easy because all your focus goes to that thing. I summited all the peaks in the Fitzroy Range, did a new route on Point Snow, did the first one-day ascent on Tor Yeager, did the first free ascent of the Tombstone, freed El Cap in a day, free-sold the Diamond. I was the first woman to do that, and then freed the Salathé.
Living in the limelight of, you know, being a kind of a sponsored climber, she's experienced some very high positives from that career, but she's also had some negatives.
It was during like 2008, during that big crash, and there was a lot of turmoil and changes in the industry. She lost a couple big sponsors because of another story related to her ex-husband. He climbed the Delicate Arch, and it got publicized. Sponsors associated Dean and Steph together because they were married, so she lost sponsorship because he did something that was illegal.
What made this whole situation so hard was that your career has been so severely damaged that you're not sure you can get it back again, and it's all you've ever done in your life. And so it was making it kind of hard from a practical standpoint, you know, like when you basically lose your entire income, that's big. And whereas in the past, anytime something was hard in my life, climbing was my solace. Climbing was so tied into everything that even climbing hurt. And I just didn't know what to do with myself. In the moment in life that I was, you know, I just felt like my whole life just exploded. Everything's out the window. Who cares? So that's why I needed to do something completely different.
I'm not really sure why she decided to do that. Because as a climber, everything that you don't want to do is jump off the cliff. You usually don't want to fall.
If you like jumping, you pretty quickly have great feelings when you jump. And so even in the first few jumps, I just got totally, you know, started to fall in love with it. And it was a very healing experience for me because it just went from being super lost and sad and scared and, you know, not knowing what to do to finding this other great passion of my life. It was after that that I met Mario. And, you know, Mario was just really my rock. He was so good and so solid. And, you know, I've never really met a person as good as Mario. So to meet someone like that and fall in love with somebody like that and have that person as my husband and my partner, and I mean, I could count on him just with anything forever. This is a book of photos of Mario that I made after he died to give to his sisters and his brother, and just to keep, obviously. So I kind of went through his computer and my computer and just tried to find, you know, just a ton of great photos of Mario being Mario, and, you know, flying planes and flying paragliders and speed flyers and wingsuits and base parachutes. And that guy had adventures, like, everywhere. You know, all over the world. Yeah, this is the Dolomites. This is Sass-Perdoy. This was the day before we did that last jump. On top. This wasn't the same jump because obviously these are, obviously his cameras were lost on that jump. So I jumped and flew and opened up and landed, and then typically when you jump like that, when you land, you look around and you see the other person's parachute already because they've been flying behind you. So I just kind of landed and looked up and I didn't see his parachute. And then all of a sudden, the French people that we had made friends with the night before came running up to me and they said, we saw Mario jump after you and he flew into the notch and we don't see him come out. And then, of course, you know, my brain was doing all these things, like, is there some way he passed through the notch and there's magically some, like, corridor through the mountain I don't know about where he's out of sight? Or, like my brain was trying to make some way that made sense. And then, of course, I knew that didn't make sense. And then we always jump with radios, so I pulled out the radio and tried to call him. No answer. And then, you know, I just immediately knew, he's not coming down.
It was really rough. I mean, there were times where she was not sure if she could, you know, continue on without Mario on this planet. And part of the way that she had to deal with that was to go into what she called alpine climbing mode, which was like, you know, putting your head down and kind of suffering. Like, I just have to get up this hill. I have to get up this hill, just one step forward at a time.
That was a tough one because, you know, the grief was so strong, and it's kind of like, you know, any pain, like, when you hurt yourself, it's like, it doesn't heal right away. It was the most painful, difficult time of my life. I mean, I really had to go in and deal with it.
And then one day, I think she really got to a point where she was like, okay, you know, I want to stay. Mario would want me to stay. And I think I want to start enjoying myself.
I do think that is part of loss. When you experience it and you keep going, then one thing that happens is you become very grateful about everything. You become grateful for the time that you had before, and you become very grateful for what you have now, and you're just more aware of how good things are when they're good. Then after Mario died, I was just telling people that I didn't want to go by myself and fly. And then Ian said, oh, I'll go, you know, if you don't want to be by yourself. which I didn't take very seriously. I was like, oh yeah, lots of people say they'll go, who knows what, you know? But little did I know, Ian was like, I told her I would go and I must go no matter what. So he was like, now had to go. Then we fell in love. Hello, here you are at the tombstone again. I had already met Ian in the past a couple times. You know, we'd travel in Europe with Mario, all of us together. He was a friend, but I didn't know him that well, and I had never really seen him that way. So when we kind of met again, I had those feelings and realized I was falling in love with him. I thought, this is amazing. You know, why would I not be totally open to this?
And then it was really special because some friends of us asked us to go up to the canyons in Arizona, and she hadn't done a wingsuit base jump on this suit, and so I was there to jump right behind her. And actually, it was really neat in that flight. It wasn't really planned, but I left behind her, and then you told me later that you were a little nervous because Mario had left behind you.
Yeah, on my
But
last
then-
jump, Mario left behind me, and then I never saw him again.
But then actually in the flight, I decided that, you know, she was flying a certain way. I wanted to fly a little bit different, so I kind of passed her and went ahead.
And then
you
I was
said
really
that
happy
so
because
that
I
was
saw
super
him
nice
ahead.
to see that. And then I deployed in front of her so she could see my parachute.
I didn't have to worry.
Yeah, and then we landed together at the bottom of the canyon.
It was really good.
Super nice.
I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to leave. I'm standing by the front door with my dreams under my sleeve. I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to find my way wherever I may go. I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to leave. I'm standing by the front door with my dreams under my sleeve.
It's a very, it's a real powerful moment, that decision moment when you say, okay, I'm going. Because when you leave the edge, you can't go back. You're in it. And you're so aware of that because it's such a dramatic physical metaphor. Like, there's no confusing that. You know, as soon as you step off the edge, you're in the air. So it's really kind of what makes it cool. It's that break between then and now. And then once you go and you get off the edge, that's where you're trying to be, is that space when you're in the air and it's all happening and you're just doing it.
All the changes occur, turning upside down, and now my aims come a blur. I wish it had been clear to me. I wish away the fear. I'm standing on the edge now. I see my choice is clear.